Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Talk Music Talk with Boice. I am Boice, and this is my podcast you are checking out. If you happen to be a first-time listener, Talk Music Talk is a weekly music interview podcast where I have long-form conversations with people connected to music from different genres and different backgrounds, both established and emerging singers, songwriters, musicians, music therapists, music journalists. And on this episode, I had the pleasure of interviewing Richardine Bartee. Let me tell you about her. She is the CEO of Grunge Cake, which is an online music blog that initially was a print magazine. She's also a journalist, a tastemaker, and she helps emerging artists get from here to there. She's based in Queens. Her parents are from Liberia, and she has had a fascinating career path with a foundation or a thread of recognizing the next big thing. In our conversation, we talk about that career path. We talk about how she got started, what she looks for in an artist. We talk about maintaining her integrity, thoughts on a post-COVID-19 music industry, her future goals, and much more. After the conversation, I asked her to put together 5 songs of artists that she is quite excited about. So she put together 5 songs for Talk Music Talk. I will give you all the song info on the other side. We kick off talking about Afrobeats because that's a sound she's been especially championing, and how it's not Afrobeat music without the S. She will explain the difference. Find out now. Here it is, without further ado, my conversation with Richardine Bartee. Enjoy. As I'm preparing for the interview, I see how, you support Afrobeats music, right? And then I'm like, okay, well, Afrobeats and then Afrobeat, what is the difference? And I didn't know the difference until in preparation. So if you could explain the difference.
Yeah, so Afrobeats without the S is from Fela Kuti. Mm-hmm. More jazz like influence, just still amazing. Definitely the predecessor for Afrobeats. Mm-hmm. And I would say Afrobeats is more like the new generation, them like mixing different sounds and still keeping like that African like thread, if you will, but like just their own style, kind of like how African American artists in the United States do hip hop or any other genre, like alternative or like hip hop now being like trap or, all the different derivatives. That's what I think it is.
Okay. So that'd be any music from Africa would be Afrobeats?
Well, more so I would say the artist would have to be singing. Mm-hmm. I think it has to, like the primary artist is singing. I would say Hip Life is more of the rap that comes from Africa. Okay. So it's a little different. And it just has a different kind of beat because there's also like Afro pop artists who it doesn't sound like Afro beats. Mm-hmm. It's just very like I think once you get the hang of like the sounds and like the BPMs, you kind of understand like what the differences are. Okay. Like, so if I look at an artist like Eddie Kenzo, that's more like, I would say like Afro pop, like more of the traditional style than it is like with these guys who like, I would say implement more of like the Santi or like even like hip hop from here. Mm-hmm. If it's not with the music, it's like with the attitude, like the way that they're dressed and,
okay.
Like just very youthful and playful. Yeah.
Yeah, and your parents are from Liberia. Is that how you come into Afrobeats? Is that how you get it? Like, how did you get into Afrobeats?
Yes, I would say my parents played a great deal of African music when I was growing up. I didn't hear much music from Liberia specifically, but like it was a lot of Fela being played and just different sounds from all around the continent. And then not only that, but just like all styles of music from everywhere. So I had an appreciation for all styles, like even like watching Bollywood movies and like, all that kind of stuff. And so I have a very, I will say, diverse palette in what I like and, what I support.
Mm-hmm. So if you say like, okay, I like African music, right? What does that mean something? Because I mean, we're talking about a continent.
Right.
So is there an African sound or is there a thread between African music?
I would say so. I would say definitely the beat, like the way that the drum goes. Mm-hmm. I would say if it's something that you can do an African dance to, it's considered African, like if it's made for like a certain style of dancing, then you kind of, or I guess depending also on like the artist, like I would say the region and like the artist is what really like crystallizes it. Okay. And Nigeria is just huge for like its music in general. So a lot of the new music and like the new like African giants, so to speak, are coming from that area. There's other areas like Ghana, Cameroon, other places that make music. And then of course like Egypt and, you go further north to the other side, east, but like it has its different sound. It's still African, but it's different. Okay. I think when we think about African music, respectfully, we think about like West African roots. And because even in South Africa, it just sounds a little different, but I think it's West African roots. Okay. Okay. Like so when people say that's what they're thinking about when they say Africa. Okay. And what was it about Afrobeats that you want to champion? What do you like? Is there a first song that you heard or something? You're like, okay, this is my lane. No first song. Cause I couldn't say that I can remember like the first African song that I listened to. That wouldn't be real. I would say it's more so about self-identity and growing up in an African household, being born first generation in America. Like my parents came from Liberia, in the late 70s, early 80s, and having them at home and then, going to school is just kind of like a dichotomy. Like, okay, like and no one else sounds like my parents, like it's a little different. Like I went to school with a lot of like Caribbean children or like their parents came from like the deep South. Okay. So we kind of like everybody always had like an accent or like a difference. And it's like we're all Black, but like when it came to my parents and me, and I was like, oh, that's different. Like your mom isn't Jamaican or they don't. She's Jamaican. I'm like, no, we're not Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, y'all are Black. Y'all don't understand, So I think for me, when the wave of the music started coming, because like as I was growing up, like here and there, you hear like music from different regions. Like my uncle Peter, and he's now passed, but he would come around and he would always play like music like on mixtapes, like random songs, like new African songs, and I'm like, where did you get this from? But then like seeing like that it wasn't just like something that was passing, and then it was like younger, like newer artists coming about, and I'm like, and with the internet too, like being able to see that and like so it was like, oh wow, okay, like this is music that I could listen to, like my mom could listen to it, and like, oh, okay, like it's kind of for her. She's like, oh, I know you're an African girl. Because now, like, when I play the music, she's like, oh, look, I know I'm in an African household. Like,
like finally.
Huge African pride. So being able to, like, reconnect in that sense with something that is newer and not necessarily the music that my mom and my dad and my uncle was playing, but, like, from this moment. So that's what it was for me.
Oh, okay. And you're from New York, right?
Yes.
What part?
Queens.
Queens, okay. And so in Queens, growing up, do you feel the difference of being, like everyone looks black, right? But you're different. Do you feel that immediate? Or do your parents talk to you about that difference?
My parents, not necessarily. I think I found out, like when you're playing with the children in the neighborhood and you're going to school and, you kind of just find out the differences.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went to school with Haitian kids and I realized like the Haitian kids weren't like treated a certain way. They weren't treated nicely.
Yeah.
And like it kind of like when I was growing up, it was like kind of like a thing to be Jamaican or be of like Jamaican culture. Cause like with the rise of like dance hall and
mm-hmm.
like me just being from a predominantly like Caribbean area in Queens, in Jamaica, Queens, that's just like kind of, what is around. So it's like, okay, everybody kind of understands Jamaican people, like Jamaican culture, Jamaican restaurants are around, so
mm-hmm.
versus like a Liberian restaurant, I've probably only seen one, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just a rarity in itself. And to like see or like find other Liberian people who aren't related to me is just very scarce. It's not mm-hmm. something that, I grew up seeing a lot.
Yeah.
And
so when does your path kind of begin into what you're doing today? What do you think? When do you think that started?
Wow. I would have to say it started to become real for me when I went to college.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to the Art Institute of New York City in Tribeca.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had a passion for music, and I knew that I wanted to work in like the editorial sector of a magazine. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to learn how to, design, because I grew up like illustrating and mm-hmm. writing and like took a course for children's literature when I was in junior high school.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So I think my parents always knew that about me. Like I had that kind of like gift, talent, or skill. So they always honed in on that. But it wasn't until I got to college, I was just like, okay, well, I know so many talented people, like how, and I, for whatever reason, I usually come across them like before they become what they are to the world.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
How can I like, add to this conversation or be supportive from the very beginning? Because I've also seen like some great people stop making music because mm-hmm. of circumstances, like being economic imbalances or whatever it is, whatever the struggles and like real issues are like mm-hmm. within the Black communities and within like Black poverty. So like I've seen like amazing people go astray or, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can get ahead of that. And if this person is feeling supported, then, maybe they can continue. This is me like very young at 17, like thinking. So I'm just like, okay, here I am, like putting on my mama hat, like let me
nurture you.
Yeah, exactly. Nurture and just like, let me try to see like how I can help. So that's, I would say that's when it started for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of see that as you having vision, right? Because a lot of people, they see someone unformed or not completely formed and they're not ready and they don't put any value in them. But to have vision and to see that, do you recognize that was kind of maybe unique in that?
I think in hindsight, I do. It just kind of always felt natural. Like, and anytime that I was doing that, like I would get support from other people. I was just kind of that person, mm-hmm. like school, just always helping. Like I'm a helper by nature. I'm a problem solver. So, I didn't feel that it was unique. Not until later, I would say like much later, mm-hmm. like maybe like let me say for the sake of like a year or time, like maybe like 2009.
Okay.
And I think I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I don't know, I'm just doing what I do, but everybody else saw it and they would make their comments and I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm just here to do some work. Mm-hmm. That's it. But yeah, now I understand like how special I am and the like just music discovery. I mean, there's other platforms that do or did music discovery, but they don't get involved like I do. Mm-hmm. And I also understand why they don't, though, because it's a lot. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot dealing with fellow creative people, and just, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. And that just goes back to the Black issues that I was talking about.
Okay. So when you're at school, was that a culture shock for you being in Tribeca? Because, you know, a lot of times in New York, we don't leave our borough, right?
That's a fact.
Because I used to tutor or work with these after school programs, and the kids would be like, "Oh my God, we're like," if I gave them some, "Did you get this from Manhattan?" Right? Because they lived in Brooklyn, and it was just like another world to them. So, like, was that a culture shock for you to go from Queens to Tribeca?
No, and thankfully, because I would venture out.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of, it was just already like. You know, within my attitude and like just the way that I moved. So no, but what I would say, I have been called like a freak by like Queens residents because I'm from Manhattan and they're landlocked. Yeah. So it's like, you went where? I'm like, yeah, dog, like you just get on the train or like get in the car, and it's not that far. It's like one of the best places to ever go. Like, especially if you're in entertainment, you know, and in business. But yeah, I totally understand. There's people that have not ever been to the Bronx or Manhattan or Brooklyn. So,
well, you think that's like fear? Because it's like it's so easy to get around in New York that people don't actually leave unless they have to go to work or a concert or something.
I think because like in New York, it's about the convenience. So like anything that you really need, like supermarket, you know, whatever is within your neighborhood usually. So it's people are very comfortable. They don't have to go, you know, movie theaters or whatever it is that they like to do. It's probably in their area. Okay.
And when you're at school, do you see like how you could use this talent, this vision? Like when does that appear to you that's feasible?
It was actually after school, and I ended up getting a job at Cornerstone Promotions, and that's the parent company for the Fader magazine. Okay. So I learned, you know, marketing and like being a field rep, you know, being on the street hand to hand, like promotion and talking to people about a product. That was very useful. It was pretty scary. You know, getting like, oh, I just walk up to somebody, like talk to them. This is crazy. But that really helped me because it helped to build confidence and like whatever it is that you're talking about, like you really have to believe in it, you know? Yeah. And I take that like deeply. So I'm like, okay, well, here I am going to promote like an iced coffee drink called Cool Java. Like, okay, I need to taste it, right? To be able to tell people what it tastes like. And then like, that's not a small thing either. Like to be able to like translate that, like what you're tasting and feeling and then saying it so the other person can like connect. It's like, I think we kind of like step over that kind of stuff. It's a skill. So having that experience. And then I also worked on one of the Killers albums. And like, so talking about music and, you know, and then also in New York City because we had to take a picture of the person that we talked to and have them hold up whatever it is that we were promoting in order to get paid. For proof. You know? So exactly. So to get a New Yorker to like, you already know, to stand and actually be engaged in what you're saying and then to stop and take a picture. Oh gosh, you know, like that was like a battle every day. But I think then like once I got that training, I was there for about a year. And then that's when I started my magazine. I started the like looking up like how to get like a barcode because it was print at first. So I did like 3 or 4 issues and that's what it really was. It was like, okay, how am I need to make sure that since I'm talking about new people that people don't know about, I have to get intelligent here, you know, and pitch it. So that's where it started for me.
Okay. Was that Grunge Cake? Was it called Grunge Cake at that point?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And what was your if you had your elevator pitch for the magazine was what?
Oh my God. So I was very, very, I would say discouraged from the beginning, because I would be like, okay, people would be like, oh, so you have a magazine? Like, what is it called? And then so when I was first telling people what it was called, they were kind of looking like, what does that even mean? So then there's that. And I know, like, now when people make the face, like, I know to start talking right away.
Okay, don't give them time.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, so what is it about? Like, oh, well, it's a short form magazine about new artists and new businesses. And, here's your chance of getting to know them before they become like the Beyoncés of the world. Mm-hmm. Looking at me like, how do you know that? Like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? So it was a lot of that. Like, going back to what you said about vision, is kind of like, I mean, how do you know? And for me, it's a feeling. Like,
yeah.
Kind of like a pattern. Like, okay, this person is, maybe they're creating something at like a high volume or high quality, and you could kind of hear it or see it next to something that's already in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And that kind of lets me know, like, okay, that makes me stop at least. And then you got to kind of try to figure out, like, what's the inner workings of it and if it will actually work.
Okay.
That's where the magic part comes in. Yeah.
Did you focus on certain types of artists at that point?
I would say that most of my friends that were making music, they were either making like hip hop music, or they were like singing, or they were in bands. Mm-hmm. So I started with my friends first, like the people that I knew, and then it kind of just branched out that way.
And then you move it from print to digital. When does that happen?
Oh man,
because it costs.
Yeah, did it? It cost so much, and it was coming out of pocket, because like I would do like my elevator pitch, and people are like, well, they don't want to spend money behind, like, how do we know if these people are going to be, anything? Yeah. They would rather just promote because they know that a consumer is going to go ahead and like pick up a cover because it has Bob Dylan on it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because that, when you say Bob Dylan, that says something already. Like, you kind of have an idea. But if I say like, I don't know, Susie Analog, at that time, it's like, who or what is that?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's saying, so that was very difficult. I was doing that out of pocket, my family and I, and it was very costly. And then I would say it was about 2009, 2010, because I bought the domain. I had it for a while, and I had like a e-commerce site where you could just buy the magazine. Yeah. And I was very stubborn, because that's like when print was dying, and I'm like, no. Like, I went to school to learn how to do editorial and like, turn pages. Like, I have a love and like affection for like paper stock and all that stuff, so I'm like, no. And I held on for as long as I could. I also did like a newsprint, like kind of like a newspaper style. Yeah. Super cheap, but like, it doesn't, like, it breaks down, it kind of yellows fast. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was like, okay, the internet won.
Because there's something special about holding, because I love magazines, holding the magazine in your hand, and that there's not the disruption of,
Exactly.
Yeah, like I was just listening to an interview, and they were talking about how, at the beginning of the internet, we thought that was so great that you would read something and there would be hypertext. And then they found out later, well, we're actually not really immersing ourselves in what we're reading, because we keep going off to this and this. But with a magazine, you don't have that.
Exactly. It's just you and the page. The story.
Do you as you move from print to digital, are you refining it? Is it changing? Are you reevaluating how it's going to be?
It was so hard for me, because when I used to think about it, I would think about it in the traditional like editorial form. Mm-hmm. So, like what's going to happen in the beginning of the magazine, and like as you're turning it, like, and then like online, it's more like, okay, you have this image, and then like you're writing the text, and then on the back end is not beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, you're on WordPress and you're like typing stuff in, and it wasn't beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's, for me, like, making the website look a certain way and kind of still giving myself like that editorial like cleanliness was very important to me, because it's like, okay, if I'm going to lose this part, I have to like gain it elsewhere.
Yeah.
So that's why the website looks the way that it looks now. Like, everybody's like, oh, it's like super clean. Like, I'm like, yeah, it needs to be. Like, people are being bizarre, you know, like, so yeah, that's why.
When does you start taking it, not just doing the digital, but, you know, nurturing artists and all that?
I think I was doing that simultaneously, because now when I think about it, I was really doing a lot. I mean, I'm still doing a lot now, but I think now I have a better grasp on like who I'm giving my energy to and like what I'm doing and having like my boundaries and that kind of stuff. But I would say that it didn't come into like conscious to be like, okay, I'm taking this on and I'm working it as like a publicist or whatever that is. It wasn't until let me see, this is, I want to say 2017. Yeah, 2017, because I lost like one of my like very close friends at the end of 2016. And then I don't know if you remember the Oakland ghost fire.
No, I don't.
Okay, so they were having like these warehouse parties. And one of my friends, he actually used to shoot like video content for me. Okay. And then he ended up moving to Oakland because he got like a really nice gig. So he went there and he, you know, like kind of like how we always do, like we just go to like parties to go like hang out like within like the artist like community. And he did that. And unfortunately, like the building wasn't up to code and a fire started and like 36 people passed, really? Like 36 artists. Yeah. So after that, like I was seeing the news, like, you know, everybody's trying to like find him because they didn't like say what happened yet to anyone. And so we were hoping that, you know, he was going to turn up, and he didn't. So the narrative in the media was kind of like, oh yeah, you know, like 36 people passed, whatever. Not really talking about who they are, what they, you know, like he shot stuff for Spike Lee. Like these are like important people, you know, that passed. So I got behind it, like on the media side. I'm just like, okay, well, we need to like talk about these people. Like he was engaged. He was with his fiance. She also passed, really? God. Unfortunately. So he left behind 2 beautiful daughters. So when I got so involved, you know, because it was so close to me, and I'm just like, okay. So I literally was one of the people that started to change the narrative, and like they started talking about like what happened in the artist community and like who these people were. So when I reached out to the media and I saw that could happen, I was just like, okay, well, wow. Like if I'm passionate about something, like I can actually make, you know, somebody tell someone's story. Yeah. Again, like if I really believe it, you know, like, and so I think that's the thing for me. Like I only shoot from the hip unless I'm really involved. Like otherwise it's people that I know, like in the business, they'll know like, okay, she doesn't really, you know what I'm saying? She doesn't really care about this. Like, I don't want to be that person because people know I'm not a poker face. Like I'm not any of that. So they'd be like, okay, yeah, Richardine, like what's going on? Like what's you're losing integrity. And I don't ever want to be that person. Yeah.
So you do that. So that gives you like the start of helping nurturing artists from that tragedy. Do you like, you see that as you want to have on a stable of people? Like when does that start?
So back in 2010, I actually started a record label. Okay. And I think I
can't keep up.
I know. I think it was like the genesis of that was that, but I knew back then that I didn't have the time because I was designing the magazine, you know? And then what I would do is I would freelance, like I was doing web design for other companies to get paid to be able to buy like the magazine in order to like sell it.
Yeah.
So I was just constantly working. And so my family, they was like, oh, we really think, you should do a record label, so many like amazing artists, and they just kind of come to you anyway. So you should do that. And I was just like, well, I'm going to need help. Like, I can't do it. We put together a team, and I think, like, I love all of those guys, but I think it was too much for them also. I think it had a lot to do with like self-worth also. Like, can I do this, and like Stockholm, not Stockholm syndrome, like, like imposter syndrome when people are, I don't know, so now when I look back at that, that's how I can kind of take that. But I think that was the very beginning where it was like, okay, like, we have something, and it would make sense if we did this. But it wasn't until that, like, the 2016, 2017 time where I was like, okay, in order to have even a record label, you have to have these relationships with media so you can like be able to push what you have.
Yeah.
And back then it was kind of happening organically for us because like people already knew the brand. So people were reaching out, trying to book the artist, and went to several like cities and states and stuff, and did what we could, but like it was just too much for me. Like I actually ended up being like hospitalized because it was like too much. Like, so I know my cap now, and that's why I'm kind of like, okay. But to answer your question now, I think I look at like, even if I'm working with new artists, I try to make sure that the clients that I have like on the higher spectrum, like the DeVitos or like now like CK, who is like a young Afrobeats artist also. I try to make sure that like whatever like celebrity client that I'm leading with, they're like the best of the best. So when I come with like a CK, they kind of already have like the taste level, you know, so it's like, okay, so it makes it easier for me to be able to support in that way.
Okay.
So that's my strategy. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're, you're reaching out to people about these artists, but you're also helping them in terms that's not necessarily about music, like coaching and presentation and all that. Like, what is that conversation like when they come to you? When does that come into play? Because they're like, blow me up. That's your goal, right?
And, a lot of them think it's magic, and I'm like, it's not magic. Like, a lot of it is about timing. Also, like, people may like your music, but editorial calendars are a real thing. You know, like it's about like what the current theme is. Like the current like playing field that we're in, like the current times, like people are covering, you know, like what they're calling like the new civil rights movement. So music, if it's not really intertwined into that and it's not like pushing that message, people respectfully don't want to hear it. You know, it's like, okay, that's cool, you have a new song, but like, this is not where our focus is. Okay. So you have to kind of, you know, like they say, like read the room and know like what's going on. Cause at the end of the day, like it's people, but like, so trying to explain that to artists, they don't really understand. They just kind of be like, oh yeah, this person was, they got this article on Rolling Stone, or like this person is in this playlist, like, and we know that you're working with them. So like, it's like, all right, like abracadabra, like make it happen for me. And it's like, no, we need to do certain things. Like you have to know how to answer questions, right? Like media training, you have to, some people are really arrogant, and it's like you just cannot teach them. Like that's just who are. That's wild cards, and you got to know like, okay, is that what I'm trying to do here? But like that like, and then also like whenever some like a new artist has an accomplishment, I literally told a guy this yesterday. I was like, okay, you're getting on these playlists, you need to like screenshot it or do a video and show, you know, appreciation and show that this is happening, because there's no way for us to be able to scale it or see where your progress is. Like if nobody knows about it, then what's the point, you know? So, I mean, it's people come to me for various things. Some people, most people for the most part that don't come through like the channels of like a reference from somebody I'm already working with. They kind of just feel like, okay, I'm going to give you this bag of money, you're going to make it happen. And I can't do that. But they send me like their new music, and like before it comes out to, know what I think about it, or like they send videos and ask me to like give a critique, should they put it out, that kind of stuff. So people are really coming to me very vulnerable with their art and like saying like, all right, well, I feel like A, you're gonna, tell me the truth and like give me constructive criticism if I need it, and B, if you like it, there's a chance that you push it.
Okay.
So understanding that I am like one of the only people that they feel comfortable with, like in the entire business, and that would even hear them out. That's powerful to me. Yeah. And I had to like actualize that and realize that recently, so I try to make sure that every time like I'm in contact with the artist that I'm giving them my best, and Yeah,
because that comes from reputation.
Totally.
That's not an overnight thing.
It's not. It's been 13 long years.
13 years overnight, right?
Yeah, exactly. Overnight celebrity. I am.
So what, like media training, what would that look like for an artist? Because I was thinking about how like Motown used to do that. They would like groom the artists, and that you had to be like just singing is not enough.
It's not. Yeah. I think, I don't know. I would say I want to kind of feel like maybe that is happening still with like pop artists. In the hip hop realm, it's a little different, especially now with the internet and like Instagram and stuff, because you are with this person, like you could kind of see what they're doing, in their day. So it's like, they kind of feel like they know you, even if you are like portraying you're a character or whatever it is. They kind of feel like they know you. So if you go into an interview setting and then you're not being yourself or the person that they know, it's kind of like weird. But I mean, what I would say is that a lot of publicists are doing more damage control now.
Okay.
Trying to get like, ahead of the story or like the backlash or whatever. But like traditional media training would, you go through the questions with the artist. So whenever like a publicist will ask, like, do you have like questions beforehand? That's because the artist still needs media training.
Okay.
They may not know how to answer the questions, or some artists, even like actors and actresses, like they may get long-winded and they're passionate, but it's like, try not to be as meaty, just say what you need to say. And because then that's how like the bigger that you are, people can kind of twist your words. Try to just be like short and concise, but like still answer, and give the people what they want, so to speak. So it's really about like what message you're trying to convey at that time, and whether you want to be messy or not. So, that's really what it is. It's like, okay, what is the goal we're trying to reach? Are we trying to be like messy and like have some shock value here? Like, is that something we need because like the music isn't doing well? Like different strategies that I would say old Hollywood implement. But yeah, I mean, that's what that looks like for the most part.
Because I know I've had publicists, and they'll be like, they'll approach me, and then they'll be, oh, do you have the questions ahead of time? I'm like, well, how the hell am I going to know what to ask you if I haven't talked to you, right? And I'm like, well, I can give you like themes, but I don't have specific questions to ask you. And I guess that's what that's about. They know their artists.
The narrative, for sure. Yeah, that's what that is.
Okay. And then you have to like teach people in interviewing, like, it's a difference doing a 10-minute interview as opposed to a longer interview. And, there's people who will give you the long answers for a 10-minute interview.
Attention spans, like, every artist or, entertainer it's a delicate situation, because you're dealing with different types of energies and like characters and, some people are well mentally, some aren't. Like, what I'm saying? That's a real thing. So you just have to, as you are working with each person, you kind of learn what their strengths and weaknesses are and try to like build on it.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, well, this is how you answered, but I will answer like this, especially if like you're being accused of something or like it's speculation or there's like a beef brewing and like, do we want to diffuse that or like, do we want to like throw some more on that and create a fire?
Okay.
So these are things that are definitely talked about before like an interview of like volume happens for sure.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
If the person has a team.
Okay, got it. So is there like a thread, but besides you being passionate about the artist, is there a thread between what makes a grunge cake artist?
Yeah, well, I know in the beginning so for me, I'm really huge on like lyrics and songwriting and music that permeates the soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important for me to be able to tell stories or like for someone else to tell a story. So I would say that is definitely the genesis or like the nucleus of what a grunge cake artist needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to be perfect, like, or like something that is polished from the very beginning. I feel like that's my role to help them do that. So I don't mind people or the world seeing somebody, progress over time. I think that is beautiful because that's how you build loyal fan bases. Like people feel like, they were part of it or they knew when the music sounded like this and now it's much better. Mm-hmm. Or like personal growth, like they see that and it's like, oh yeah, this person was going through this on this project, but now they're here, so it's that I would say you have to be someone that has a story to tell and you can find creative ways to tell the story.
Okay.
No matter
what?
No matter the genre.
Okay. So as we come out of the lockdown or before we go back into it, right? The way we're acting. As crazy as we're acting, right? Are there ways that you had to switch things up that you think you will be continuing as we come out of it? Like things you learned during this, how to promote and...
Oh yeah. Well, I definitely learned and applied the power of like connecting with people. It's just like on a human basis and seeing how people are really doing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's usually at the core of me, but there's so much going on all the time. You don't really get to reach out to people and really see how they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, how are you? Oh yeah. How's the kids or whatever. And then it's kind of like, you just go on, about your day. But now like I've learned how to like take time for myself, and take time to like really nurture the relationships that I feel are important. Matching people's energies, like, who's checking on me? Like I need to check on them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And just really working within those spaces. And in terms of like outside, like we were actually getting ready to do a show at South by Southwest. And then COVID-19 came about. And we had some other shows planned throughout the year. Mm-hmm. I know that people are doing like online concerts, and this may be like just my stubborn behavior, like because I was also like this with the paper magazine, like a long time before I was like, okay, yeah, website. But I still there's something about like live music in a live space where you're in a space with people and you can like see that person playing the guitar or like rapping or singing on the stage, and it's intimate, like it feels personal. And now with COVID-19, I don't know like if that's even going to be a thing, because even when there is like a vaccine or what have you, I feel like there's still going to be a time where we're seeing what happens. Like say for instance, if somebody like opens up a stadium and it's like, okay, we have a vaccine and everybody can go now and go to this concert. We don't know how many people are going to get sick. Like first wave, you know, and if people are going to be saved. So for me, it's very scary. And I hope we can like return to some sort of like, I don't know, like normal. If that even like, if that can even happen. But like, you know, I saw the Chappelle, comedy, well, it wasn't comedy, but he did the 846. Yeah, and I kind of saw like how they did the seating. So I'm looking at that kind of stuff and kind of trying to learn what makes sense and like what's making sure everyone is safe. But I mean, outside of that, like, because a lot of what I do with artists, we would go to like media companies, like their offices or like record labels. And I don't really know what that's going to look like, or like radio stations, you know, because people are like in close proximity. So I haven't really seen what that looks like yet, like in person. So it's still to be determined. But people are doing like their Zoom calls, you know, kind of like how we're doing now, which is still cool. But, you know,
it's not the same.
It's not.
I know. I miss like being in a room with somebody and the energy that happens because also.
Totally.
Yeah, because also like when people perform, their performance is in some way shaped by the energy of the audience, and every audience is different. Like totally. That's a part of the performance is the audience.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's weird for the artist. Like you are wherever you are, and you're like kind of performing, and you're not getting that energy, so you're performing in the room, and it's I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, there's nothing to bounce off of.
Yeah, you need the people. You do.
Yeah. So what are, I believe, speaking things into existence, what are the big goals that you're working on that you could speak of for Grunge Cake or yourself?
Oh, okay. So one of the things that we were working on for 2021 before this happened was like a festival to kind of like how, like where CMJ left off.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something like that. And we literally started the outreach. I want to say it was the end of March, maybe like very early. No. The end of February, very early March. We started sending out emails trying to get the attention of venues to see who wanted to partner with us. And COVID-19, COVID-19 happened. So hopefully we are able to bring that to life and, you know, just still help push new artists and new businesses just in like a public space where everybody can see it and it's offline and kind of just see like the relationships that we have in real life. And, you know, because it's one thing if you're writing about someone online and people are like, oh yeah, I'm checking it out. But it's another thing to like see this person in person. This, you know, like, oh yeah, like, oh, they're really cool. Like they really have a relationship, you know, like it's just a different type of thing. So I hope that we're able to do that. I hope that we're able to do some sort of like show. Someone actually reached out to me that I used to share office with in the Lower East Side. And he was like, yo, I see everything that you're doing and I just want to throw a cocktail party for you, right? This is at the beginning of the year. So I'm like, oh yes, like it's going to be amazing. Nope, COVID-19. Like, I would like to see that cocktail party pass. I want to be able to see the people that like I love, like just doing amazing things like artists touring and just, you know, because I know that's like a huge like vacancy for them right now. Like the artists that have been able to actually know what it is to tour.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. Like I want to see what that looks like. I want people to be as safe as possible. And that's really it.
I like that. And are there any artists that you're working with now, if you name a few, that you are just absolutely excited about, that you want everybody to know about? Put you on the spot.
There's so many. Oh my God. Okay. So, wow. All right. So CK, he is an Afrobeats artist, absolutely amazing, very artistic. He self-directed a film called Alien recently, and it's like talking about a young lady that he met who's like one of a kind, and like, but he creatively like put it together. It's really nice. Oxlade, he's also a Nigerian Afrobeats artist, and he like both of them, they're really special because like when they're singing, I would say CK is more of like the hip hop equivalent because of the stuff that he says in his song. But then like Oxlade is like more of like he's speaking to your soul, like spiritual side.
Okay.
It's still fun. Then I have UFO Feeve, who is from East Harlem. And he's very special to me because he takes influence from more of like the traditional like golden era, post golden era hip hop music, but he has like such a strong voice that like it just permeates like whatever production he's on, and like you could just hear him like he voice. So and then wow, like there's a guy named Nick Viner who is like a singer-songwriter, and he has a song called Lie to Me. He's really amazing too. He's like an indie pop artist. Excited about him. Another artist named DDG. It's so many boys. Like there's so many. DDG, he is a YouTube star. Started out through YouTube, has millions of fans, and I want to say as of 2018, got a record deal and a partnership with Epic Records.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Music. He makes hip hop music. He's very special because he also teaches people how to be YouTubers, people of color, and so they can be able to earn some money. Because for a long time it's like, okay, I want to be a rapper or like a basketball star, and that's like for some reason like the urban tale or the urban go-to, but he's showing people how to do it like he did. So I really respect that, and I like that. I like artists with like more sides. Wow, Xavier. It's so many like West Coast artists named Xavier, Sparrow. Like I could go on. Sandra King's, a soul singer from Brooklyn, and she puts on for the everyday girl. Like she's not out here with like the buxom body or the looks or like the plastic surgery. Like God bless those people. They do what they do, but like she's very much so like the normal girl and singing soul songs.
That's so good. That's so good. Some good stuff in there.
Oh, and Ricky Ricardo, he's also an artist from Brooklyn, and he's a great songwriter. Makes drill music. Well,
you gave us a good start. You're very active on social media, so where's the best place to check out what you're doing, keep up with you?
Okay. So on Twitter, I am The Yams. So that's THEYAMS. On Instagram, it's my first name and last name, Richardine Bartee. You definitely check out the website, grungecake.com. Anything that like we're feeling that like we're supporting the artists, that we write about them, and people have told me like I've been on the website like for a few hours and I'm just learning about all these new artists, and I'm like, oh, thank you. So there's that, and I would say those are like the best way to reach out to me. Cool. Oh, one more artist. Okay. He's working with Tricky Stewart. His name is Matt B, and he's from Chicago. He's a R&B artist, and he's also really good. Okay. That's somebody we should look out for. Okay. Sounds good. This was absolutely wonderful. I'm glad we got to do this. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Sure. This is great. You have a great energy. Thank you. Same to you. And I really admire and respect everything that you're doing, and I wish you continued success and Thank you. Same to you. Please keep going with your podcast.
I will.
And let me know how I can support in any way.
Okay. Sounds good. You take care and be well.
Okay, you too.
I don't really care if you're older. Baby, can you rise from the shoulder? Oh no, let us go far away, miles away, far away, to a place where no one can dictate how we play. Let us go far away, miles away, far away, where no one can dictate how. Maybe let us fly away. Ooh, fly away. Fly away. Give me love, give me proper. Give me sugar, give me tender. Anything you want to offer, baby, say no more, no bother. I do for you, I do for you. Let us go far away, miles away, far away, to a place where no one can dictate how we play. Let us go far away, miles away, far away, to a place where no one can dictate how we play. Maybe let us fly away. Ooh, fly away. Fly away.
JustNiger.com.
Yeah. My baby, my Valentine. Yeah, now you do make you a temperature rise. If you leave me a good time, I swear. You are like the oxygen I need to survive. I'll be honest. Loving the thought in me, I am so obsessed. I want to chop your heart. Never did it back at this feel. Open up, make us feel. Yeah, my love, one thing. Me make a bad man sing. I go spend for your head. Talk all they want, I don't care what they say. Cause your matter, now him I con the carry for my head. Every night, now you I want to carry to my bed. Oh no no, don't tell me no no no. You can be my partner, never ride it solo though. And we got no one lucky, no need to party wo. I'm feeling what you're doing, oh yeah baby, gotta go. Oh, no. Your body they back at me, sweet. Open up, make I see. Now you where they got my fancy. They do me, I give party. Oh no 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 They call me. And I want to go, but you got me coming. Why should I be coming early in the morning? Oh yeah, shake it, make it spend my money. Call me Mr. Bean, I go make you honey. Ay, give me, baby, make you give me. I go show you love and I go take you to my city. Don't need them, make a look pity. You won't make a sing to me before you go see me. Fine girl, you know your body bad. Same body back can make you shake it for Ghana. Here, dance for me, baby, pana. Come and give me show. Rockstar.
Exclusive from justniger.com.
You know how we carry it.
You know how we carry it.
Tifo made this
Too
one.
broke to go to war, bro. D-boy, what up? You know how we carry it, man. Who in the war with us? I don't care who you know, I don't care who you born. Throw shit in your car. Bullets flying, ain't no time to go call. Whoa. You know how we carry it. Just get it. Who in the war with us? I don't care who you know, I don't care who you born. Don't get shit in your car. Bullets flying, ain't no time to go call. Cause we get money, of course. Crashing the party and bow the bar. Yo, you thought she was yours. Problems with us. When it's war, I'm calling. Problems ain't something that we can resolve. Nigga, run them like hard liquor. See you figure my shooter a bartender. I got work, I'm a boss. I done came up, now I stay at resource. I don't take a day off. Plenty OG, that's the reason we lost. I got money, I'm beneficial. Pillow talking, see these ain't gon' benefit you. I got shit that'll come and get you. Reach for your phone, she flip it around. You don't get out of line with us. You'll have 100 niggas at your door in just 5 minutes. If it's one, ain't no time limit. D-boy, my he got the whole new in the war with us. I don't care who you know, I don't care who you want. Don't get shit in your car. Bullets flying, ain't time to go cold. We get money, of course. Crashing the party and bow the bar. Oh, you thought she was yours. Problems with us, fly through your car.
How we carry it, no, I am not a Samaritan. If I up it, then I'm airing it. I'm arrogant. By the paragon, they know that ain't no comparison. Pass me the, I shoot it. Or they want a war, let's do it. Think this just music? Everybody wanna play till it's great. I get the addy, I'm headed your way. I hate that bitch in the way. I'm just not got a on my waist. Talk to my grandboy and I had the faith. Love my way, don't leave a trace. Love my way, don't leave a case. I hate that boy that went out for a drink, so
I don't care who you know, I don't care who you want. Don't get shit in your car. Bullets flying, ain't no time to go cold. We get money, of course. Crashing the party and bow the bar. Oh, you thought she was yours. Problems with us, fly through your car window.
Fell in love with this feeling, there's no more rain. Show my pain through the fashion. My fear God made it so happy. My day one, he envy me, but he still proud of my actions. She fell in love with a savage. She wanted, so I get them racks out the attic. The good, she nasty, and she don't mind toting that ratchet. She fell in love with a savage. She wanted the racks in the attic. Nah. You can't just tell a what it takes in this shit if you not in position. You can't throw a shot at the gang with no issue, cause when it die down, be expecting a missile. What's never no good with opinions, I let you tell it, then respond what I feel it. Take a lot just to tell how I feel. Do the motion, codeine gave me chills. My little Chicago shorty told her 30 and she shut the like a savage. I see the hate right through these glasses. See, my sons I abandoned, they just bunch of bastards. I took a step back, they moving erratic. They up on the internet, toting they flashing, but in the public tucking chain like it's magic. This is the type of moves I cannot fathom. Gonna came out, get your whole hood out here claiming they slime and they claiming they slap. Ayy, paperwork ain't showing shit, but you made a mistake, boy. You should've claimed rap. Ayy, you wanna talk about his pistol? Send me your aim, cause boy, you chat. Would you like a fit or snap? With all that cat, I fell in love with this feeling, there's no more rain. Show my pain through the fashion. My fear God made it so happy. My day one, he envy me, but he still proud of my actions. She fell in love with a savage. She wanted, so I get them racks out the attic. The good, she nasty, and she don't mind toting that ratchet. She fell in love with a savage. She wanted direction to attic. Been through it all. I got a ball. Chopping patient, I need that tomorrow. Lambo looking like Pikachu, I catch them all. I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking with Michi. I need me a Fiji, my wrist in the wall. Baby think she a stallion, she driving a boat. Took my straight to the boat. I was told I was selfish, I think I accepted. That's the first step to get better. But I told you I don't want no lecture. I can't call it a loss, we say Louis lessons. Thought I was flexing. I need to buy me some shares up in test. Speak up if I'm the one you wanna mention. Thought it's a friend, my brothers they slide, bend they step. I fell in love with this fear. Stretching by that, no more rain. Show my pain through my fashion. Fear of God made it happen. She fell in love with a savage. She wanted direction to attic.
Terminology.
It's real things going on. Real things, Playboy. Right. We just here to give you the music to survive to, you know what I'm saying? Introducing me, UFO feed from the Druid tree. Dropping jewelry, I leave a bracelet at your eulogy. Foolery, thought you knew the language of the gods, I speak it fluently. Perfect like the rhino in his horn, is the prince of the mathematicians. But in song, who sold drugs, so if you add it up, don't get me wrong, I'm as real as the flesh you occupy in every form. Spread the virus way I'm spitting that shit. You been informed and infected. I grew up where the children get neglected. Raised by the reckless, history manifested. Yo, I hit the block like TRL most requested. They stand outside the building till they run into detectives. We hire and spend the profits on the necklace. I plan to meet a Vato out in Texas. I pray my daughter meets a man with a plan and a nexus. Not a Lexus. Who the fuck needs a car? Need that game, Playboy. We're here to give you that real. Hey yo, the crystals in the blow like untouched snow. Made a speedball, spiked his nose with uncut dope. We knock trees off, we the workers make the city move. We take a week off, niggas wouldn't know what to do. Scratch the surface, I bet you find a diamond when you listen to these verses. I provide a service, your style is worthless. They wouldn't feel you in the church, souls purchased. I fuck around and hit them where it hurts. Bring the hearses.
They call me OGP. If I get down, I get dirty like I'm ODB. Anytime I see a mic, I get OCD. I was treacherous when Tretch made OPP. Yeah, it's ghost turning UFO. Probably in a UFO. About to hit the split, my little homie caught it 2 to 4. What's the ticket on the brick? You was lit, then you would know. Fuck you asking me for? They killed them in New York. Well, I was down in B-more. I'm just trying to see more. Road to success, ain't no time for a detour. Velour sweats, European V, I'm a B-boy. Ever cross me, guaranteed you get a keloid. Build and I destroy, something like the gods do. Leave them in the trunk of the car, just like the mob do. Ever try fucking with ghosts, bring a rod through. No, I'll stay pulling my nigga, I know your card too. Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Richardine Bartee. I hope you enjoyed the playlist that she put together for Talk Music Talk. What you heard was, kicking it off, Oxlade with Away, CK, Love Nwantiti, I hope I'm saying that right, Nwantiti, featuring Joe Boy and Kwame, Ricky Ricardo and D-Boy Low with War With Us, Asparo in the Attic, and following up at the end, UFO Feeve Villains featuring Styles P. I will put all of that in the show notes for you for free. That's right, for free. If you would like to find out more about Talk Music Talk, head on over to the website, talkmusictalk.com, for more podcast information and to stream over 200 back episodes. You can also find me on Instagram, so follow me there at This Is Boice. Since March, I've been doing IG Live conversations with past guests, so check those out. They are all there in the feed. And I would like for you to subscribe to the podcast on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and many other places. Just search for Talk Music Talk. You can also find the podcast on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/This Is Boice. There is also a free app wherever you like to get your apps. Again, just search for Talk Music Talk. And I would appreciate if you would leave a 5-star rating and or review wherever you happen to listen to the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, and there will be a next time, this one's for you, Liz.